Have you ever looked back over several years and realized that nothing catastrophic happened, yet somehow far less changed than you expected, even though you were busy, tired, and constantly telling yourself you would get to the important things later? Most people don't feel like they are wasting time because wasted time doesn't usually announce itself as a problem. It feels reasonable, patient, and often responsible in the moment, especially when the alternative requires discomfort, uncertainty, or effort without immediate payoff. From a human perspective, delaying action feels neutral. From an observational perspective, it rarely is. This is meta-intelligence, examining a pattern that repeats across environments, personalities, and intelligence levels, where time is quietly traded for comfort long before its cost becomes visible. The mistake most humans make with time is assuming it behaves like a container rather than a current. Containers can be filled later. Currents only move in one direction, regardless of how calmly you stand inside them. Time is not lost all at once. It is leaked in small, justified decisions that feel harmless precisely because they do not hurt immediately. People often say they are waiting for clarity, waiting for energy, waiting for stability, or waiting for the right moment, believing that patience is a form of wisdom, when in reality patience becomes avoidance the moment it is used to postpone discomfort rather than to allow maturation. The nervous system strongly prefers this trade, because delaying action reduces immediate pressure while preserving the illusion that progress is still planned. Nothing has been abandoned yet, so the brain experiences relief without loss, even though the loss is already occurring. From observation, this is why time feels abundant early in life, and scarce later, even when schedules are equally full. Early on, the cost of delay is abstract. Later, the accumulation becomes visible, and people mistake regret for bad luck rather than recognizing the pattern that created it. Consider how often a decision is deferred not because it cannot be made, but because making it would require tolerating discomfort without reassurance. The conversation that feels awkward, the skill that feels clumsy, the project that offers no immediate feedback. Each delay feels small yet together. They define trajectory. This is why waiting often feels intelligent. It protects you from embarrassment, uncertainty, and effort while allowing you to believe you are being thoughtful rather than avoidant. The problem is not that time passes while you wait. The problem is that adaptation does not begin until exposure starts, and exposure cannot occur in the future. When people finally feel urgency around time, it is rarely because something went wrong. It is because something quietly never began. Those who misuse time are rarely irresponsible. They are often conscientious, reflective, and well-intentioned. They plan carefully, think deeply, and remain aware of what they should be doing, which paradoxically makes delay feel even safer, because awareness is mistaken for progress. From an external standpoint, this pattern is predictable. Humans discount future costs while overvaluing present relief, especially when consequences are delayed and non-dramatic. This is not a character flaw. It is a biological tendency reinforced by modern environments that reward immediacy and punish patience without payoff. Notice how often time is framed as something you need more of, rather than something you need to stop trading away cheaply. People say they lack time, when what they lack is tolerance for the early discomfort that productive time requires. This is where most advice fails. People are told to manage time better, plan more efficiently, or optimize schedules when the real issue is not allocation but avoidance. You cannot optimize your way out of decisions you are unwilling to make. The cost of choosing comfort first with time is subtle but severe. Comfort delays exposure, and delayed exposure delays learning. Delayed learning compresses future options. Eventually, time begins to feel hostile, not because it is moving faster, but because fewer paths remain open. There is a quiet moment many people experience where they realize that even if they changed everything today, certain outcomes are no longer reachable in the same way. This moment is often misinterpreted as aging, when it is more accurately the result of accumulated postponement. This is not meant to induce panic. Panic also leads to poor decisions. The goal is to recognize the pattern early enough that time becomes an ally rather than an adversary. If this analysis is useful, and if understanding patterns matters more to you than motivational pressure, subscribing simply ensures continuity. I like to observe the outcomes either way. A useful distinction exists between strategic patience and comfort-based delay, and most people blur the two. Strategic patience is chosen in service of a longer horizon, even when it requires ongoing effort. Comfort-based delay avoids effort while preserving intention. One produces leverage, while the other produces stagnation disguised as prudence. A simple way to tell the difference is to ask whether your waiting is paired with exposure. If you are not accumulating feedback, skill, or tolerance while you wait, time is not working for you, it is being spent. From observation, people who feel in control of their time do not rush. They also do not wait passively. They move slowly when necessary, but movement is continuous, even if imperfect. There is a quiet irony here that acting earlier often feels reckless, while waiting feels responsible. In reality, early action allows course correction, then late action forces commitment to fewer options. A short experiment illustrates this pattern clearly. Choose one task you have been postponing not because it is impossible, but because starting feels uncomfortable. For a defined period, work on it without trying to make progress impressive or efficient. The goal is not outcome. The goal is exposure. Pay attention not to how productive you feel at first, but to how resistance changes over time. Many people discover that the discomfort they were avoiding peaks early and then stabilizes, while the cost of waiting continues to grow quietly in the background. This experiment works because it separates time from emotion. You are no longer waiting to feel ready. You are gathering information about whether delay was protective or simply familiar. It is important to clarify that not all waiting is destructive. Some situations genuinely benefit from delay, especially when information is incomplete, or action would lock you into a path prematurely. The difference is that strategic waiting is active and observant, while comfort-based waiting is static and soothing. If continued delay produces no new information, no skill acquisition, and no increase in tolerance, it is no longer patience. It is avoidance wearing responsible language. Humans often treat time as something they will eventually reclaim. From observation, time does not work that way. It compounds in whichever direction it is already moving. Some people, after recognizing this, want more than awareness. They want a way to evaluate decisions without relying on urgency or guilt. That structure exists separately as a written implementation system, linked in the description and pinned comment for those who want it. It is optional, not required. The reframe is simple. Time is not something you lose dramatically. It is something you trade quietly, one comfortable decision at a time. When discomfort is treated as a signal to engage rather than to wait, time begins to stretch instead of compress. Progress does not accelerate suddenly. It stabilizes, and stability is what allows change to compound. From observation, most people do not need more time. They need fewer reasons to delay using the time they already have. End of transmission.